Hello there, and welcome to this edition of Talking to Introverts. I'm Denise Oliver, and my co-introvert is...
Hello, I'm Sami Blackford.
Hi, everyone. So for this episode, we're going to talk about a little project that Sami and I are working on called the Enriched Business Mastermind. This is a project that we've got coming up very soon. It starts July 4th, and we're running it right the way through to the end of December. So we have 6 monthly modules and an awful lot going on in each of the months. Sami, do you want to give us a bit of an outline of what we're doing?
Well, um, I will. I'm going to answer a different question first, though.
Going to answer a question.
I'm
Before we
going to answer a
start.
different question that you haven't asked.
Okay, go on.
Um, so I think for many solopreneurs, as we're called these days, those of us who work on our own in our businesses, many of us who work from home in our businesses, it can become isolating, it can become lonely, it can become overwhelming, and you can quite often find yourself in that place where you're not quite sure which way to go for the best in your business, and you could do with like somebody to talk it through with. Um, and that's why I love like a mastermind kind of setup because it's like having a team of colleagues without actually having them in your business, but we're all micro business owners, so kind of like the one woman band type of business, and we're there to support and encourage each other um, through our, taking that next step in business. So I think that's kind of an important part of that. Even before we get to like the content of what we're delivering in the mastermind program, I think that in itself is like a huge part of being in a similar sort of program.
Yeah, there are times, aren't there, when I know I've experienced this, is that I'm sitting at my desk and I'm just staring into space, knowing that I don't know something. I don't know who to turn to. I don't know who to ask. I don't know where to go. And just like hoping that there's inspiration suddenly appears from the ether, and it doesn't. It's often, I think, as well, it's where we hear, certainly in therapy, coaching world, it's where from a business point of view, it's the business that you don't know. It's the business side of things that you don't know and don't know what to do with. And so you go off and do another coaching course or another therapy course, and suddenly you've got all these amazing skills and you don't know how to put them out there. And it's work I've been doing for a long time now, and it's work you've done for years as well. And my God, we have a lot of experience between the two of us of what has worked for us and what hasn't. And that's going to run through the whole of the 6 months that is coming up very soon. It's all very exciting.
Yeah, and I think that like you're right in what you say, like quite often in like the therapy world, I'm going to use that as like an overarching term for many different service-based businesses. Um, we're taught our modality or our therapy or our practice. And as you say, we're not taught like how to grow a business, how to run a business, all the ins and outs of what it is to be a business owner. Um, and quite often that is the place where people get stuck. And like I've been there. Like I've totally hold my hand up. I have been there. Um, and it is that kind of when you don't know where to turn, that is when a lot of people well, just talking from my own point of view, A, stick their head in the sand and ignore it. Like it'll sort itself out. It's fine. I'll just look over here at the bit that I can do. And that other stuff will sort itself out. Yep, done that one. Um, just freeze, done that as well. Just don't do anything. And I can't break it any more than it is if I just don't do anything, and maybe it'll just fix itself. Or like you say, go off and spend money on another skill, to learn another skill. Yep, done that one.
Several
Or
times. It's going to hold my hand up. I have. I've done that several times. I felt so incompetent, like I just don't know enough, that I thought I don't know enough about the courses I've already done, but actually I've never implemented them.
Mm,
And it's just like, oh, you've got to set a pace, and it's all very well doing these courses, earn 50K in 50 days. I did that course. And actually the information in it, when I've looked back, was amazing. But I didn't earn 50K in 50 days. That was just the hook, and
mm,
very, really good marketing. But when I look back now, if I'd focused on what the course actually was telling me, I would have been better off way faster. I just thought, no, I haven't earned that money, therefore I need to look somewhere else for something else. Or I'd go to networking and someone would say something like, ooh, that sounds good. Where do I sign up? Nothing to do with what I was trying to create. Oh no, I'll
mm.
go off and do that. It's like major procrastination, really.
Yeah, yeah. And then like the
Well,
other
laughing
thing,
my head off here to myself, like, God, it sounds so silly now. And it's just like, anyone else out there been there doing that? Oh,
I mean, it's the thing, isn't it? It's like when you are stuck, when you don't know how to move forward with this thing, you go and find something, and it kind of makes you feel like you're achieving something because you're progressing with that thing, even though it's not really getting where you wanted to go. There's that kind of like sense of achievement, isn't there, within that? And then like the other thing that I have tried long and hard is like the whole trial and error
mm,
approach to business, which businesses, you can't get away from that. Um, and also, I think if you've got like that supportive team around you, that kind of circle of support and masterminding around you, you can kind of reduce that trial and error a little bit by learning from other people and what other people have done. And obviously, everybody's journey is different, but still, you can see some places where you can avoid making making mistakes and all of that kind of stuff.
yeah. And just to say that we are aiming this at women who identify as introverts, like us, who want to be in a small group, because this is open only to 6 people. So we still have a couple of places. If you are one of those last minute people who knows you know that you need this, but you haven't quite committed to signing up yet, then yeah, we are running this at a pace that's gentle, that's kind to us and to you. And we're really looking forward to it. So much of it is already prepared. And this is a beta test. So we are looking for someone, if you're this person who likes to be there at ground level, building something up, you will get a lot of information from us, a lot of advice from us, a lot of coaching from us, in the hope that you don't get stuck where we've been. But also, what else could we do with this course? What do you think might be missing? Is it in the right order? Would it work in a different way for you if we did it at a slightly different times? And we're working with moon cycles, which again is different, which is why it's aimed more towards women who are who might not be aware of their moon cycles, but are looking for something that's a little bit different to the normal way. Let's put normal in these little commas up here, just to see how we can work with our cycles as women and make the most of that, not feel like we're not doing enough. Sami and I find that round the full moon, you can't keep us down. Round the new moon, you won't see us. Because those really are the days when we do put the duvet over our heads and just are like, nope, not on a new moon. It's not going to work. And so this is something else we want to bring to women's attention. is that there are days when you really won't feel like doing anything in your business. So if you start by charting when those days are and seeing if there's a pattern, then you might be surprised to find that you get a lot done at certain times of the month and what appears to be nothing at other times. But you are doing something, because that time that you spend with the duvet over your head does give you time, yeah, metaphorically, does give you time to reflect on where you've been and where you want to go. So this moon cycle way of working has been one of those things that I've found absolutely revolutionary for me. And it's all thanks to Ms. Blackford that got started. So that's part of this project, I'm calling it. Project. 6 months.
Yeah, and it's a lot of what we're discussing in over the 6 months. A lot of it is practical, shall we say? So, like looking at the ins and outs of money and all of that kind of thing. And a lot of it is more about reframing how we think, reframing how we view ourselves as the owner of the business. That's a big one for me. Like that whole, I'm not self-employed. I'm an entrepreneur. And that's a big one for me. It's like I don't see myself as an entrepreneur. I'm still learning that. Um, and it was quite interesting because I was thinking about it a few weeks ago, and I've always called myself self-employed. And then I wonder why I'm working long, hard hours for not much comeback. It's like, because I'm employed by the business. So I'm at the beck and call of the business. Whereas I think when you look at more as being a business owner or an entrepreneur or a CEO or whatever you want to call that, it's more like, no, I'm the leader. I'm the leader of the business. And just that one simple like reframe of how I describe what my work situation is just opens up a completely different like way of thinking about business and who I am in relation to the business. So we'll be looking at a lot of like thought patterns, and I know Denise, you were all about like retraining the brain to think differently. I'm going to say, think more supportively of our goals and all of that kind of stuff. Which I will leave you to describe that because I will not do it justice.
No, well, you've already mentioned how there are times when you would just freeze, when you
Mm.
just like, what next? And not in a what next in a positive way. It's more like, oh my God, what am I going to do now? And you just don't do anything, because it's so confusing and so almost soul destroying. And you know how I love to talk about the brain. And yet another book's come through the door that I can read. But oh my God, all these wonderful researchers out there. I couldn't research if my life depended on it. But researchers who research and then put it into simple wordage, that's great. I love that. And having done as much as I have with the Havening community, the initial course and the advanced courses, the more I listen to what they're saying, because Havening is based on what happens with our amygdala, our prehistoric brain, our reptilian brain, and how fast that instinct of the amygdala is. So we refer to the amygdala as Amy in Havening. It's the first 3 letters of amygdala, AMY, although there are like 1,010,000 different versions of how to spell Amy these days. You can't assume it's AMY anymore. And it's the whole thing with Amy in that she's there for your survival and she's on call, as it were, 24/7. She's 4 times faster than the blink of an eye. So you are going to feel the effects of that. And we call the effects of that fear. So fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. You are going to feel that because she's so quick. And because she's so quick and it's what you've grown up with and no one's ever told you different, it's normal. It's just become the way everything is. So once you have that understanding of what Amy's doing, it's like, okay, Amy, great. And you catch her, and you catch what's going on, and you catch what she's looking to do to keep you safe. So the whole time that you're feeling angry or just annoyed with yourself for not knowing something, that's Amy showing up, going, great, you've stopped. I've kept you safe. That's her job. But you can also talk to Amy, and she can help in your adaptability in situations like that, your resilience building. And she's there both ways, but her tendency is to swing towards a more stressful, fearful way of having you just stop doing what you're doing. So I think one of the interesting things about learning about this for me is the fawn aspect, or I was taught it as flocking. So we want to come together in a group, as safety in numbers. So in times gone by, if you were the weirdo, you became the outsider. You were kicked out of the tribe. You then had to fend for yourself. Well, as a cave person, that fending for yourself was quite hazardous. God knows what animals you were, living with and having to defend yourself from. And so to actually be in a tribe is a safe space. Now you can see that as never growing beyond what you know, or you can see that as a coming together with other people who also want you to be your best. And that will help Amy, your amygdala, develop resilience, because you can come with whatever the fear is of going beyond who you are, where you are right now, going, do you know what? This thing keeps coming up. I mean, I still get it now. I doubt myself and I catch it. And it's like, oh, hang on a minute. I know this is Amy in action here. So what is it I'm doubting? What's happened just before that happens? And it's like, okay, let's just unravel this. And then, because I knit, how am I going to knit this differently? What's the new shape I'm looking for? Where do I want to go with this? Where do I want to be seen with this? So I just find this whole thing of re-knitting, as it were, our neuroplasticity in a way that actually benefits us, that takes us beyond survival and into thriving, I just think is an amazing thing and a wonderful thing to learn. And it's the one thing that's it's brought me to a place of, even when I'm like rushing around, I'm trying to get 1,000,010 things done in 10 minutes. I'm like, no, stop. You don't need to go into this sort of aggressive fight mode because you've got the washing to do and the floor needs cleaning and the dog needs walking. No, actually, stop. What's the most important thing right now? And it's that suddenly, Amy, I just have this sense of, I have these like lizard toys, and I look at one of them that's got this great big red open mouth, and I'm like, okay, that's either a scream or a happy laughing mouth. Which way do I want to go? Do I want to feel like I'm screaming internally, or do I want to feel that sense of joy at knowing what's going to work right now? And this is where I love everything I've learned through Havening about Amy. I can choose to be stressed. That's easy because I've been like that all my life. That's there. It's dead easy to go into that. Or do I want to go on the other side of it and look at how I can adapt and build my neuroplasticity differently while still involving Amy? Because I don't want her to run amok. I don't want her to feel like I don't need her, because I do. I can't turn her off. She's there. So how can I engage her? How can I come together with other people who similarly wish to build their adaptability and resilience? And so one of the reasons I love the idea of a mastermind. Nothing's right or wrong. Nothing's off the table. Let's come together and work together in a way that's beneficial, not just because we need protection.
Mm.
It's beyond that protection. It's more open than that.
I think another thing that I love about like the mastermind, and you kind of just touched on it there, it's like people coming together and we're all we're all in different businesses at different places or stages in our businesses and want different things from our businesses. And what I love about this is like it's not prescriptive. It's not like one size fits all. I mean, there are materials that we are creating and topics that we will be covering. Um, and you can come at that from wherever you are. You can take um, what we'll be offering and using it, wherever you are in your life and your business. Like there's no like it's not the 50K in 50 days. There's none of that. I mean, you will not find any of that sort of gimmicky marketing from us ever. Um, but it's not you have to follow these rules and this is how you do it and this will get you there. And like I'm sure, like you were saying before, if you followed those rules, you could get to 50K in 50 days. I do not want to put in that much effort. I'll be honest, that
I don't
much
want to be that
time.
stressed. You wouldn't
Yeah,
sleep. You just wouldn't sleep, and that's not okay. It just isn't. There are times when you have those moments in life where there are things that you have to keep running to keep up. But with business, slow and steady
yeah.
is now my mantra. I'm the tortoise. I've tried to be the
Oh,
hare,
yeah.
and it's not worked for me because I reach burnout pretty quickly. Whereas knowing this slow and steady thing, I'm amazed at what you and I have actually created in a year compared to, and we just slow and steady. We just know each other now. We know there's no push required.
Mm.
Everything gets done. And it's like, it's never ceases to amaze me how by being the more choosing that more seasonal, cyclical, gentle side of the human nature, like blending it with what goes on in the outer world, tuning into our inner world, how we just get on with stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, that's done. Okay, that's done. Next. And that is where we want to take you on a journey with us over 6 months to see, how we choose to do things and the tools we use to do that with, which are phenomenal. Just saying. I think
And
that.
I think that kind of like what you were just saying kind of leads on to like that's why it's a 6 month program.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, like I know we're kind of picking on the 50K in 50 days, but it's the one that just sticks in my mind. Is like less than 2 months, isn't it? Which, as I say, you can probably create that in that time. You will be stressed out of your head. You will be overworked and um, heading to burnout, if not already there. Um, and then, after those 50 days, then what?
Yeah.
Whereas, like with the
Year
six,
off. And then
yeah,
you do it all again.
with the 6 month program, it is that slow and steady. So we have a different theme or a different topic, whatever you want to call it, for each month, but they're all intertwined. It's not like month one we'll be talking about this and then we will never talk about it again. Like it's all intertwined throughout the 6 months because it's all intertwined in our businesses, in our lives. Like everything is connected. And that's why, well, I know that's how I work. It's like um using that, like getting into a rhythm and using that and like connecting with that on a monthly basis. Um, and maybe you will see overnight results. Most likely you won't. Um, and that's okay. I mean, like business wise, I'm in it for the long run. I don't want to be a flash in the pan, here today, gone tomorrow. I want to build something that will be sustainable out in the world and for me personally, because if I'm like, I've been in that place where like business is hard work. I mean, business is hard work, but like business is like stressful and, you know, I've been in burnout like many times over the years. Um, I think I have finally learned the lesson now. And I don't want that anymore. Like, that's not fun.
Exactly. I think there's that. there's the hard work that is stressful, that can lead to burnout, leaving you feeling like you're no good at anything, you'll never achieve what you want to achieve. Or there's the hard work that's also coupled with knowing what you require as a human being on this planet, that is going to assist you to work hard and enjoy it. And this is the resilience building side. This is the adapting side of it, rather than being like force fed through some sort of sausage machine that so many marketeers use, that 50k in 50 days, or whatever the tactics are to get you to think that you're going to miss out. So fear of missing out, I hate that. Why do you want to be in fear of something? That just triggers Amy, and you're just running like I don't know, a headless chicken to do all these things that you then get really confused about. And the thing about this is that Amy stores all that away, and this becomes her default position. There's a part of our brain called working memory. And one of the ways to think about working memory is like going to Google and putting something into Google. And this is what Amy's doing. Amy goes to working memory 4 times faster than the blink of an eye. Get that? Try blinking 4 times faster than you're already doing, and you'll see how quick she is. And she's going to working memory and asking working memory to show her all the times you've been in this situation before. So she can bring all that up, and you are anxious and worried and fearful in such a short space of time, and you've no idea where it's coming from. And there are times when you and I have been together and we're like, oh my God, this is too much. We're doing too much. It's such hard work, not enjoying it. And it's like, whoa, stop. Because we have to show Amy a different way. We have to show her that work, no matter what the hours or what needs doing, is fun. It can be enjoyed. We can get pleasure out of it. And we can go on holiday and not feel like a wrung out rag, and never quite feel like we recharge our batteries when we take time away. Because then we're always on edge, like what's going to happen tomorrow? Oh, when I get home. My husband did it to me on holiday. 3 days in, oh well, when we get back, we've got XYZ to do. Like, whoa, got another 7 days yet. Hang on. No. We'll think about what needs doing at home when I'm at home. It's all on a list. I don't have to rely on my head to remind me, because then things will get lost. And so it's just that whole thing of it's like bringing yourself to be more present, recognizing how you've been in the past, because it's always there. But what future do you want to build for yourself, for your health, for your business, and the health of your business? And how do you want that to happen? And I have found, and I've said it earlier in this recording, that you and I have got so much more done in the last year than I ever thought I was capable of being a part of. And the slower we've gone, the more things have just sorted themselves out in many ways. The more ideas we've had, and the more chance we've had to really consider how it's going to make both of us feel. Because I've said it before, I'll say it again, if a situation isn't a win-win situation, or in terms of you, me, and our businesses, so everything's got to win, then it's going to get stressful if we're not in that space of, yeah, this feels great. It's a win for you, it's a win for me, it's a win for the business, or businesses, as it is. Rather than, oh God, I'm not sure about that. If you get that heart sink, then what's not okay? What's behind that heart sink? What are you recalling? And that recall that you might not have a picture for, or words for, sounds for. But Amy's showing you in your body that there's something about that isn't working for you. And so what is that? What's behind that? And once you work out the inner stuff, honestly, the outer stuff, it just gets so much easier. Work with the outer stuff, but you've got to sort out the inner stuff as well. I used to think that was like really weird and woo-woo. Because to me, the inner stuff was like your organs and your blood and stuff like that. But actually, it's the emotions, the feelings, the emotions that get set up, the sensations. And once you actually recognize that and you are willing to work with that, and some of you won't ever want to hear that because it's just too difficult to go there, that's fine. Just carry on with your life as is working for you. But there are those of us who have, we've hit brick walls and something has had to change. And so then it is that, okay, which course am I going on now to sort out this inner work because something else has come up? And yeah, right now for me, it's havening. That really makes a difference because havening targets the amygdala. And once you get that, it's not controlling it, it's working with it. Once you start to work with it, so that the fallback isn't stress, 4 times faster than the blink of an eye, racing heart, feeling, sick to your stomach, and those sensations of intense anxiety, feeling like you're going to have a panic attack almost, dizziness, all of that sort of thing. Once we can see that for what it fundamentally is, then we can work on what's behind it. And I love that in Havening, the thing that the Rudin brothers, they wrote their book, the past is always present. And it's always present because we haven't done anything to calm the past down. So Amy's off like a bottle of pop every 4 times faster than the blink of an eye. There's so much that churns around within us that's locked in our biochemistry, that unless we do that work and unlock that biochemistry, and they've proven that it can be done, we can literally melt the stress that's being held in place, then you will continue to repeat patterns. And I don't know about you, Sami, but I was sick of repeating patterns.
Yeah.
Just got to that point. It's like, I know so much stuff, but I wasn't like stacking it up well. It was scattered. It was like spinning plates, but far too many of them. So why not just spin a couple and do it really well, rather than 300 or 3 million or whatever I felt like I was doing at times. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. There's loads in there that I want to kind of come back to. One of the things that you were just saying is like how much that we have together achieved over the last year. And like you were saying, I am quite amazed by what we've achieved over the last year. And I think like I wouldn't have done that on my own.
Yeah,
I
agreed.
I I completely believe I have the capacity to do that, to have done that on my own, but I know I wouldn't have done. And that comes back to like that again, having that support system around you with that added like accountability built into it, as in like, you can say to me, you said you were going to do this, this, and this. Have you done it? Maybe in a nicer way. Where is it?
God knows,
Um,
I'm never going to do that because there are days when I don't get round to doing what I've said I'm going to do for reasons various, because that's life.
Life happens.
Life does happen.
Um,
It just does.
and still, I think it's easier to make excuses to yourself. And also then to like, well, I didn't do that and I said I would. Obviously, I'm a bad person. Like I'm no good at this. Like
Obviously,
I'll
you're
never
such a
I'll
bad
never,
person.
be able to achieve anything in my life. I might as
Ever,
well just give
ever.
up. I might
That's
as well
not
just give up
dramatic.
now.
That's not dramatic at all.
Well, that's like comes back to that like how
Oh God.
quickly the amygdala works. It's like this
Yeah.
one little thing. I didn't finish this task today. Oh my God, spiral down. It's like, nah. Like I'm a terrible person. Um, and I think that again, having that other person or group of other people who can, and you can say like, oh, I didn't get to this because this thing happened. Like, yeah, I totally get it. And also, you know, try this, this, and this, or you know, tomorrow's another day, you'll feel better in the morning, all of that kind of stuff. Like, I truly believe like a good sleep cures so many things. Um, and yeah, I think that's an important point to make. It's like, I wouldn't have achieved what we have achieved over the past year alone. Like, it was completely a collaborative thing, like in all senses of the word. And that is another thing that I love about that co-creation, that mastermind kind of situation where you are, I mean, like, you and I were working together on the same project, but even if you're working in your separate businesses, there's still that co-creation energy there where you're, supporting each other as you got the task to do, holding each other accountable and all of that kind of stuff, which is a big part of business. Like, and if we're in our businesses on our own, that's when we don't have that. That's, well, speaking personally again, that is so often what leads to feeling stuck. And as I, quite dramatically described earlier, self-doubt, shall we call it?
Yeah, and I think that's the freeze frame of the amygdala. I'll just stop you there, and then we'll just go and search for all the past events where you've self-doubted, and I'll add them all together for you, and we'll just add some compound interest to that, and kaboom, 4 times faster than the blink of an eye, and suddenly you're writing off everything you've ever done
Yeah.
because it's what you've always done. And no one's ever told you how to move away from that. No one's ever shown you that you can do things different. You won't ever, ever, ever stop it. It's not possible because of that's what Amy's there for. She's keeping you safe. But it's recognizing that you can recognize what she's doing, and you can assess for yourself whether that's the truth. And it's that going beyond trying to think your way out of it and trusting yourself, being vulnerable and being open to certain things. So you and I had a chat about one word, scrutiny. and scrutiny comes down to fears. And again, it goes back to Amy. Being under the spotlight, being judged, being scrutinized for what you do and the things that people are going to say to themselves, to each other, on social media, because everything's truth on social media, is it not? And honestly, social media, love it, hate it, all of that. And scrutiny can be one of those things that holds us back. We go into a place of fear. And this is a lot of what we're going to talk about throughout the course in much greater detail, is when does it come up for you? What do you do in those circumstances? And how can you approach it with a sense of ease, still enjoy your business, get on with your life, and know that there are people out there who don't understand what goes on in their brain in the first place to actually put any sort of derogatory comment out there, or keep their comments to themselves, and somehow energetically you still know what's going on, because there's a lot of that, isn't there? I was going to say one more thing on that. I can't remember. It's gone. Anything else from you?
I mean, there's so much
I know
we could go into.
This is why we need 6 months.
I know.
Yes, this all comes out in a much more evenly paced, coherent style. Yeah.
So the Enriched Business Mastermind is held in Chester. So if you are a woman, solopreneur, micro business type situation, within the Chester area, or have easy access to Chester, we will leave the link to all the details in the description if you want to find out more. Or feel free to, leave a comment, to ask a question, and all of that good stuff.
Yeah, we have got set dates for meeting in Chester. We're also meeting online. We're doing Zooms together. And we're doing something that's worked for us over the last year, aren't we? We're doing WhatsApp as well, where we just state what we're aiming to do during the day with our business. And the following day, we say what we did get done, and then we state again what we're hoping to do that particular day. And so it goes on. And it's very interesting because we can look back over a week and feel like we haven't achieved anything. But actually, if you look back over a week and see what you actually have achieved, it's always way more than what you haven't, always. And there's always something else to be done, always, whether that's your family, your life, your hobbies, your friends, your business. There is always something else that comes up. And Amy's very good with finding everywhere that we can berate ourselves, when in actual fact, you come on something like a mastermind and we'll show you that there's way more places where there's pleasure and fun and joy to be found than the pain and the discontent that so often seems to accompany solopreneurs who don't seem to think that it's okay to give themselves a break, and especially women. I found. I think women are much harder on themselves. And it's time that we learnt kindness for ourselves. It really is. There's a lot of women out there talking about this, and we're going to talk about it too. So there will be details, as Sami said, posted. And we'd love you to come and join us. It would be great to just to round the group up, as it were. And because the more people we have joining us, the more ideas there are, and the more help we can be to each other, the more we can serve each other, be of service with each other. Yes.
Sounds good to me.
So, are we done?
I was about to say the exact same thing. I think we might be.
I think we might be. If you've got any comments, please leave those as well. We'd love to hear your feedback. Be kind. There's a way of saying something that's slightly more negative, and you can be kind by doing that. Yes. So we look forward to meeting you in person one day, or having you back here with us in a couple of weeks' time. So we are done now.
So, as a reminder, you have been listening to Talking to Introverts with your host, Sami Blackford, and
me, Denise Oliver.
And we will, I was going to say, see you next time. Speak to you next time.
Yeah. Couple of weeks' time. Bye for now.
Bye.